Good morning, boys and girls. Happy Monday. Welcome to our first day of some real digital learning. All right, so I'm trying out a new recording device on my end, so just be a little bit patient as we figure this stuff out. And I'm going to be patient with everyone here. All right, so we're going to do a little bit of kind of more of a systematic review for this week. We're going to go back to some skills that we've practiced and work our way up to where we left off. Okay, so what do we have to do for today? Number one, the thing that you're doing right now. Completely watch this Ed puzzle and answer the questions as we go. Second thing you're going to do is a fluency practice. And we're going to start today with by multiplying powers of 10. That's going to be our fluency practice. And then you are going to do some independent practice, which is going to be page 87 and 88. Everything that you need for today's lesson is linked on this Google Classroom post. Okay, let's get at it. Okay, so we are going to be doing multiplying by powers of 10. This is something that we did earlier in the year. So we're going to have 63 times 10 to the second, or 63 times 10 squared. Now remember, this 10 to the second, let's see if I can get my drawing thing, I can't. 10 to the second, this is a power of 10 because we have a base of 10 and an exponent of 2. And powers of 10 are really nice because they move our original numbers up in place value. So this is basically the same thing as saying 63 times 100, because remember, 10 squared is 10 times 10, which is 100. So I can rewrite this as 63 times 100, which we know then equals 6,300. And what we can notice here is that 10 squared, 10 with to the second power, adds 2 zeros to the number I multiplied, 63 with 2 zeros. That's the nice pattern we get with powers of 10. Let's do one more together. 786 times 10 to the fourth. Well, that can be rewritten as 786 times 10,000, because 10 to the fourth is 10,000. Remember, that's 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. And 786 times 10,000, let's see if you can pick this out multiple choice. 7,860,000. Just 786 with 4 zeros. Remember, this little shortcut works when we have powers of 10. 10 to the fourth adds 4 zeros. It bumps my number up 4 place values. All right, next one. 59 times 10 to the fourth. Let's see if you can pick from multiple choice what this would end up being. 590,000. Since it's a power of 10, I have a base of 10. It only works for a base of 10. To the fourth tells me to add 4 zeros to my number, bumps it up 4 place values to 590,000. Okay, so what your practice is going to look like, you are going to have this one at a time, and I want you to do 15 of these one at a times. I only want you to do the multiplication. I couldn't get rid of division for some reason. So for example, if you see a problem like this is a division, and skipped it. Total bummer. Skip the problem, skip it again. This is a division problem, just skip them. Do not do division problems. Also, if the exponent is negative, skip that as well. I tried to get that out of the way, but I couldn't. You're only going to do the multiplication problems, 15 of these. Okay, so moving on. We are going to talk about place value. So here's just our little reminder here. Remember, what our decimal does is our decimal separates whole numbers from things that are less than whole numbers, tenths, hundredths, and thousandths. These pieces get smaller and smaller and smaller. To the left of the decimal, ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. These are whole things, similar to what we talked about before. Let's go ahead and write these decimals in fraction form. Let's see if we remember what that is. Well, this is tenth. I can either put a 1 in the tenths place, or I can write it as 1/10. I can also write hundredth, this hundredth place, as 1/100th. This fraction value is the same as its decimal value, and 1,000th would be the same as well. We're going to have to remember that going forward. I'm going to post this image as well to help you when you do some of your independent practice. Okay. So here's what your independent practice is going to be. It's going to be this worksheet. And you can see that it's page 87 right here, just so you can see in the future, page 87 and page 88. So your expectation is to do these 2 pages. We're going to go through 2 of these problems, or a couple of problems together, and then you're going to complete the rest of them. Okay, so what you're going to do for this first chunk here is we're going to turn these from words into decimals. So 35 thousandths. Very important to notice that THS at the end, 35 thousandths. Well, let's go to our place value helper here. Well, it said 35 thousandths. So we have 0 whole number. We have nothing in the whole number. And we're going to place our decimal. We have no tenths. And we have the number 35, which ends in the thousandths place. So we can read that like this. 35 thousandths. So this is an example of what your answer should look like. So let's go over to our worksheet and write that in. So this would be 0 and 0 tenths, 35 thousandths. All right, that's pretty bad 5, but again, I only have my mouse right now. So you're going to continue that for the rest of these problems. We did something very similar in school. So that's what you're going to be doing here to finish those. All right, let's see what else we have going on here. Okay, for problem 2, you're going to rewrite these as words. Remember, anytime you see that decimal, you say and. Okay. You should be familiar with section 2. You're going to skip problem 3. The way they kind of wrote it here is a little bit funky, so you're going to skip that. Oh, it stays. That's pretty cool. Okay, so here's an example of what they want you to do. I'm going to do B, and then you are going to do C. Okay, so we see that we have 0 whole numbers, so we don't have to do anything there. The first value we have is 3 tenths. So in parentheses, we're going to do 3 times 1/10. Thank you for your patience in realizing that I'm writing with a mouse. 3 times 1/10, and then finish out that parentheses, plus, well, what's the next place value? Hundredths. So let's go back to that's terrible, parentheses. Back to our parentheses, and we're going to do 6 times, well, what place value comes after tenths? It's hundredths, right? You can pull that place value chart out, 1/100th. And that parentheses, plus, what's the last chunk I'm adding there? 2, let's open that parentheses back up, 2 times, and what's that place value? That is the thousandths place, so 2 times 1,000th. So this is what we would call, I keep doing that, this is what we would call expanded form, So they're going to ask for expanded form in the future. You can make that happen. All right, so I'm going to leave that there. You are going to do C. C is a little bit more complicated because you have whole numbers, but you'll be fine. All right, for problem number 4, write a decimal for each of the following. So now we're doing the opposite of what we just did. Now you're going from expanded form, and you're going to write your decimal. Pretty similar for 5 and for 6. Okay, so you can watch this video as many times as you want. You can go back and look at it as you're doing your independent work. And that is all. As always, please email me with any questions. Good luck.